Darren, thanks for your time as ever. Important win, wasn't it, over Bromley? Keeps the momentum going at this time of season's always key.
I thought we were great. I try not to allow my positivity infiltrate the players' mind too much, but I thought we were brilliant, absolutely brilliant Tuesday. And I'm glad I said what I said afterwards in terms of that's hopefully a glimpse of the future.
Yeah. How much of a lift does that give you when you see your team play to that kind of quality that you want to see from them? Also, back-to-back wins now as well, of course.
Well, it's growth. It's growth. I'd like to think I've been quite balanced this year with expectation and where I think the group is and isn't, and they're growing. And you go through periods of real struggle and hard, difficult times, difficult words, difficult conversations, tough sessions, and you do it to come out the other side, and they're developing that. And but they're, this team always needed some time, but I was really pleased with our attacking play Tuesday. Really pleased, really pleased. That's obviously been a big focal point of our work, and I thought we were great. I really enjoyed watching us.
Yeah. How much will the young players learn from this experience this season, the ups and downs that go along with it? I mean, it's got to put them in good stead for the future, hasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, that's why they came here. That's why they signed for us, because we were the club of opportunity, really, in that particular market in the summer. And that's why they came. They came to play. Players get a real feel of the size of the squad and what you're trying to build or having to build, and they probably got a whiff early on that this was going to be a club that would give me a chance. Not everyone's going to say that, of course, but they've been great. They've been great to work with throughout. It's been tough, but they've showed a lot of character. And I've not seen too many groups with young groups like that with the resilience they have, because normally as a manager to try and promote or stimulate teams, you have to rub hard surfaces together. You have to get friction and some spark and some heat. And as we all know, I'm a rough surface, and sometimes when I rub against another surface and it's not rough, then it's hard to really sort of stimulate any sort of heat, any fire, provocation, but they've been very good, all the young ones. But after this year, that you can't call them young anymore, because they'd have had a full campaign and they should be good to go, and they should be feeling very proud that they've kind of come out of that developmental model into the real game.
And it's Southend next up, a team that's really sort of stood up a bit, haven't they? Certainly improved since the turn of the year, really, where they've picked up. What sort of a game are you expecting?
I think Kevin's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, Kev Mayer, and we know each other very well. He's a terrific guy, very competitive. He was a very good player, tough as old boots. But like anything, you're determined by your recruitment, and I think with Southend, what Kevin's done very well is he's had that second batch of recruitment. I mean, the team they're playing now is nothing like the team that started the season. So they've had that. Torquay have had that as well. There's been a couple of teams that have almost had two waves of like summer recruitment, really, mass recruitment. And Southend are one of them, but he's got results because of the improved recruitment. So, you can only, I think that's really how you can judge a manager, especially in the lower divisions where recruitment departments are either next to nothing or very small. You have to try and judge managers on their resource and what they're able to get and what they're not able to get. And he's recruited very well, and the team went on a fantastic run. I know it ended the other day, but they've still got in the background the substance and the evidence of a really great run. So, it'll be tough. Big club, big club, and they'll bring a lot of fans, and I think you always can see the quality of a club by the away following, and they'll have a big away following Saturday.
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago that you played them at their place, was it? Really, just only back in January. So is it close enough to use as a gauge, or has even since then too much changed?
No, a little bit's changed, but it was at the start of that kind of wave. No, they were strong that night. We were very weak. We were poor. I was even quite pleased the way we managed to stay in the game and get the late goal and have a bit of a rah-rah. We should have had a penalty on the night, but we conceded 2 goals that were very, very not like us. And of course, it was Terry's last game, so I remember that night very well.
Yeah, good luck for the weekend, Darren. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Right, well, continuing in the pink, last time we finished off saying, well, we can wish for 2 on the trot. Let's hope we get it. Well, talking about it certainly worked because we got our 2 on the trot. How do you make it 3 on the trot now then, Darren?
Well, the players just have to keep rolling. They have to keep the momentum of the performance and the energy of the performance and the feel of the performance. 2 very different performances, by the way. Dover away was very scrappy, a lack of real technical quality, but we were determined, we were well organised, and we scored the key goals in the key moments. Gorman showed his quality, Ben Barkley showed his quality. So that was nice to break that sort of 1 goal a game as well, ceiling. And in Tuesday night, obviously the 2 changes with Reuben and Lawson, they've got really great technical qualities. So I thought they kind of smoothed us out a little Tuesday night. They made us a little bit more fluent, a bit more graceful, a little bit more pleasing on the eye. I was really pleased with both of them. And they affected the game in a big way, Reuben and Lawson. And so it just made for. I thought we scored 2 very, very good goals, really great goals. I love wide players when they're flying, ducking in and out and manipulating the ball and changing direction at speed. And we saw that in abundance with obviously Knowles laying the first one on for Lawson, who played in the opposite flank position, and then we saw Nerfel and Knowles combined for Tom's goal. So I thought they were wonderful goals, and you looked at the impact Reuben had in that second goal, the way he chested the ball down. There's very few players that can do those basics as well as him. So I thought I was really pleased for Reuben and Lawson Tuesday night, and we just got to keep that. You just got to keep that feel. You've got to try and keep that feel. Hopefully, we won't be too many changes tomorrow in terms of injury or suspension, and we can keep rolling.
One of the staunch fans of Yeovil said to me that he thought Reuben Reid's game was out of this world. Quote. You've obviously said you say that he had a good game, but I mean, how good was he?
Well, he's an excellent player, first and foremost, a brilliant guy. And if Reuben's story this year is unfair on him when really you look at it. And we start pre-season, we start building around the players that we have. We build around Reuben and Joe being our 2 forwards. Mark Little and that back 4, and then within the space of 7 days in week 4, between week 4 and week 5 of pre-season, you lose Mark Little and Reuben Reid in the same 7-day period, and you have to adapt and change. We go through that adaptation process. We end up with a 4-3-3. We go on a great run. Then we come away from that run. Reuben's now fit, but we're playing a different system that I didn't think would really sort of get the best out of Reuben at the time of his career. But I've always wanted to play Reuben I think I've always played Reuben in a front 2 since he joined, and so the minute we started playing a front 2 again, I wanted Addy for the Dover game because he's chaotic and destructive and annoying, really, when you think about the work he does against central defenders. And then at home, I wanted to smooth us out. So, you bring two destructive players out of the team like Jordan and Addy, and you put in Lawson and Reuben, you bring more technical features to the game, and I thought that worked very well. Reuben was great, but Reuben was at the level I expect of him. That's the level that's what I signed when I signed Reuben Reid, that quality back to goal. But he was energised. He still wound me up a few times. I mean, his game wasn't. I wouldn't continue by saying it was out of this world. I thought it was a good performance. I thought he affected the game in a very positive nature. I thought his athleticism and his physical output was high. What more do you want? I don't think you ever need to say any more than well done. All these superlatives of,
Lawson and now you've got Josh. You must be pleased with a bit more sort of creativity now as well, and you've got Matty Wellington as well. Obviously showed on Tuesday night.
Lawson's got good quality. We've already said that, and Nerfil has other qualities, very athletic qualities, and Josh is actually a very creative short passer. And when you watch his best attributes, it's normally over small passing distances, like the one where he plays Knowles in. He's actually quite clever at seeing space and passing lanes, and to be able to see that when you're moving at such speed, and he moves at a ferocious rate, is a good quality. But we're pleased to have Josh, really pleased. We've wanted him all season, he will definitely contribute from now to the end of the year in a positive light. He's still, we've got an agreement with Josh and Luton about how we build him into games. So we've got to be mindful of that. He's a young man who's had a pretty career-threatening injury, and he's still finding his feet. But when I watched him Saturday, when he came on training Friday and Saturday, I thought he looked rusty, which is,
inevitable, I suppose.
It's inevitable, correct. And then Monday, when I watched him in training, he was breathtaking. He was absolutely brilliant Monday in training. And so I kind of got a little bit of an idea that the shackles were starting to come off a little bit. And when he came on, I thought he was great, absolutely great.
And talking of Josh Staunton got this injury problem. Do you think you'll be able to sort of nurse him through to the end of the season without having to have surgery?
I don't know. That's the answer. I don't know. But my heart says yes. My head says no. I think we're going to have to manage him quite carefully if we're... and we'll only be able to manage him carefully if we've got availability in that position. But the lad should really have an operation and fix it. But such is his will and character that he's ready to go through that. And every time he passes it, you can see him wince. If you watch him tomorrow, he'll strike a ball and just watch him. He'll hold his groin and he'll wince. Bless him. So, Josh has put himself through real pain and discomfort in his 2 years with us, and a brilliant guy, brilliant pro.
Still uncertainty about the future of the club. What's the situation about ongoing contracts and what have you? Because we're getting sort of a bit close to the end of the season now. Is anything happening?
No. Nothing's started, so it can't be ongoing.
No, and I mean, if nothing happens, is there a likelihood of the club having to go part time? Do you think, or what?
I don't know. I'm not privy to that. I'm not. That's nothing to do with me. I'll just do the football coaching and pick the team and be animated like a lunatic on a Saturday. So, I've honestly, chaps, I've got no idea.
Okay, well, good luck for tomorrow anyway, and make it 3 on the try.
Thanks, mate.
Morning, Darren. How are you doing?
Good, Paul. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Good.
Did the additions of Ted and Josh kind of give you the lift in the dressing room that you were kind of looking for a few weeks ago?
I'm not sure they're a natural lift in the dressing room. When Mark Richards walked into the dressing room when we signed him, that was a lift. because everyone went, oh, that's Mark Richards, and then Mark's character takes over, and very buoyant and very, very authoritative, and so different in a different way. Ted's come in. Obviously, he knows some of the players. He left a real impact on me the first time he was here, and I think he's made a really good start. And I know a few people will be kind of they'll be doing that right now, but he's played 2 games and the team's won 2 games. I'm not sure what else you have to do as a player. That's the only thing that matters to me anyway. So I think he's a big guy. He's got a presence about him in terms of his position in the goal. He made a brilliant save at 2-1. At 1-1 first half Tuesday night, and I mean, if we'd have gone in 2-1 down at half time, that would have been the travesty of all travesties. Josh, obviously, we all know, and everyone was excited to have him back and the other thing is with that, this group went through, a hell of a time last year. So the bond that they have with the players that were in that dressing room at that time is stronger than other bonds. Of course it would be, because it was heightened, it was highly distressed. So, it was all pleased to see Josh. I think we was all pleased on a human level to know that he'd recovered and he was back out playing again. And, I was certainly pleased to be able to put him back out there because Josh did a lot for us last year, but we did an enormous amount for him. And Luton were great again, Nathan and Chrissy Cohen, and they were just brilliant with the way they handled themselves. And so were West Brom, Boas Myhill and Gary Walsh, fantastic with their help with Ted. So what it allows us to do is give Grant that physical rest that he needed with his groin. He actually got sent home yesterday with some illness as well, so he's had a bit of a time lately, Grant. And it just allows us to not be really sort of clutching at straws for that position. Max will carry on playing in the games that we'd earmarked, and he's progressing very nicely, and he's going through the natural sort of course of evolution in his own development. But yeah, no, great to have him. Nice to be able to put someone on with Josh. I mean, if you've chased Wakefield for 70 minutes, 60 minutes, 20 minutes, and then Nerfield comes onto the pitch, and you're probably thinking, oh, it's going to be a tough day for me today. I saw Wilkinson train against both of them yesterday. I picked 2 teams, and one team had Nerfield and Wakefield on, and they both surrounded Wilkinson. And I could see Wilco's face sort of drop. And yeah, I would. Can you imagine marking Nerfield and Wakefield? Oh, no. No.
You just mentioned that special bond between the players. Also, this weekend, we're going to tribute to the life of Lee and his passing. Just how much of a special atmosphere is it going to be, do you think, on Saturday?
They're very intense moments for me. They're intensified in a way that is beyond sort of words. It's been a tough year, and I can only imagine what the year's been for the family, and we want to show respect, and I hope the club, whoever's the manager, the owner, the captain, or the players, whoever it is, I hope we show the respect every year, as close to his anniversary as possible. And we do the right thing as human beings, and as a damn good football club, So I think it was, it's going to that'll be a tough day tomorrow.
I think, regardless of everything that's going on behind the scenes, just the fact that you've got the likes of Josh and Ted wanting to come back, and you've got Josh playing through an injury that really requires an operation, it just speaks volumes of how well the club and yourself and the players are together.
Look, Josh Staunton and I, we like the others that went through all of that. We're very close. Josh and I are very close. Josh had a nightmare of a year on and off the pitch last year, so we became very close, and that stayed, through this year. I think his performances have been good. I still think he next year we'll see a better version. And he's just a brilliant guy. brilliant chat. The group is the group, and they're close. They're not comfortable. They're competitive. They've got a manager that tells them when they're not competitive, and I'd like to think I'm a protective type, and they've got me for the things they need away from the pitch, and I've always had that with my players, which is why I've always retained a very close bond with former players and people like Charlie Lee and Carl Dickinson, who I speak to on a weekly basis. So I've always had that with them, and it's testament to our character, and it's testament to them, because forget about me. They're coming. We're swimming in sort of dangerous waters now in terms of the timing of the season, and people obviously looking for clubs next year. And the fact that they are Wilkinson putting a block with 10 minutes to go, and the fact that he's still got that mindset, I'll take my hat off to him. I really do.
Definitely, and best luck for the weekend, Darren.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Hi, Darren, you okay?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, mate. I just want to ask about a couple of the other loanees to start with. I think this Saturday is Ben Barclay's last game of his 1 month extension. What's the plans beyond that? Have there's been an agreement to keep him longer, or is he going back?
No, he should be staying now to the end of the season, Ben. I must say, Stockport the class of Stockport is unrivalled in my 20 years in football. Simon Wilson, their sporting director, so great for us. Has been unbelievable for us. Obviously, I can't divulge too many internal details about that, but unbelievable class. I mean, just class all the way through. So we're very grateful to Stockport and the manager, Dave, the manager, and Simon. And we should be able to keep Ben to the end of the season now.
A couple of other loanees have missed out recently, Sonny Blulow, Everton and Jack Robinson, for different reasons, injuries, illness and bits and pieces. What are the hopes for getting them back fit, full and firing between now and the end of the season?
Well, in the case of Sonny's got to compete. Sonny's got to compete and get himself back in. This is a meritocracy here. It's not people don't get a divine right to play. I think I've probably shown in my 3 years just as Yeovil manager, I've left out all of the big hitters in my time. Charlie Lee's, Carl Dickinson's, Lee Collins, bless him, Luke Wilkinson I dropped for a 17-year-old when I was at Stevenage. I mean, I'm not fussed about who I have to leave out. Reuben's hardly played again, things like that. So Reuben had to fight. Everyone, Addy's had to fight. They all do, and it's a meritocracy, and I base it on my duty is to the club and to the changing room, and I have to, in my perception, give the club and the changing room the best chance of winning football matches. I can't work it under any other conditions. So if I have an idea that or evidence or any sort of subjective or objective data, anything to my disposal that helps us get to the rhythm of winning quicker, I have to do that. So Sonny's got to fight like everyone else. It won't be the first time in his career he has to do it. Certainly won't be the last. And I think Sonny's had a really good season. I'm not sure there's another teenager that's made 16 starts in the National League this year. I mean, it's a very adolescent league and a very robust league. And the fact that he's part of the youngest squad and he's made the starts he has and the contributions he has will stand him in good stead for the rest of his career. Jack is just in and out with injury, with a reoccurrence of a couple of injuries. But he should be back on the training pitch next week. And again, when Jack gets fit, he'll have to fight Morgan Williams for that shirt, and I'm not sure Morgan's going to just roll over and say, there you go, Jack, have a game. I don't see that happening, not with the way Morgan's playing. So Jack's going to have to fight. And then, the rest of them, and so on and so forth. So, but that's what winning looks like. Winning looks like that competitive edge and people having to fight.
Yesterday was the final registration, David, of a transfer deadline day at National League level between now and the end of the season. Did you have any plates spinning, or were you happy with the work that you'd already done, bringing in Josh and whatnot?
The only thing we could have done was bring in players that, didn't have any financial outlay. So as long as we did Ben Barkley, which will probably get authorised this morning, I was okay. I've been okay with this. We haven't got the resource to plate spin. It's a completely different year. I love trading. Terry calls it trading. And I love trading. So I like being creative and seeing how I can move this piece to that square and that piece to that square. I like doing that. So some of the work we've done with Josh, Ted and subsequently Ben, it just astounds me what you can do. But it's been tough. It's been very tough, and it's been a different year. It's been a different year for that. We've always had. In the previous 2 years, I think we've had more assets, like immediate assets that are, if I wanted to be creative, I can move pieces around based on valuations and things like that. So I don't think we got that this year. I think people see this as a young team that's growing, and no one wants to sign a short-term loan for a medium-term fix. They want a short-term loan is short-term fix. He's got to come in and just bang, hit the ground running like Ben's done for us. There's no learning for Ben Bartley. He's just a proper player.
I want to ask a little bit about Max Evans. Ted Cairns come in, done very well, 2 wins under his belt. Did you, and maybe more the goalkeeping coach Craig, have to do any kind of man management with him? He may have seen that opportunity of Grant Smith being injured as his chance to play some first-team football. Did you have to put your arm around him? What kind of character was he to be told, actually, we are going to bring in another loanee like we did with Dylan Barnes back in January?
Yeah, of course. But Max has been with us now for 2 years. He came in as an 18-year-old. There's not many 19-year-old goalies playing out there. It's just the nature of the position. They normally play longer, and they need to go through certain processes. And again, my duty is to the club and the dressing room to get the best available. Now, if there was nothing, if I didn't foresee that there would be anything immediately better, and remember Ted's a short-term loan, than Max, I'd have played Max, 100%. My duty is always to try and win the game as best I can. So, with Max, of course, he knows his development plan. We outlined that very, very clearly at the beginning of the season. I'd have probably, looking back, I should have played him in the trophy against Needham Market. He'll play next week in the Somerset game. And he's learning. He's learning every week. He's a young man. Goalkeeping's a highly pressurised position. It's a really pressurised position, and if you get that wrong at an early stage with a goalkeeper, that can be curtains. That could be good night. And I'm not prepared to do that. And as long in the tooth as I am now, I didn't think it was the right time. I thought the team was on the back of a bad run, which it was, and we had the option of that again. My duty is not to ego. It's to the football club, the supporters. And more importantly, the lads in the dressing room I've got to give them the best chance of winning, and they've got to know that the manager wants to give them the best chance of winning. And we don't really care what stage of the season it is. Very few groups I've worked with at this stage of the season as committed and as determined as this dressing room, and we want to still win games. So Max has got a big future. I'd love him to be here next year. I'd love him to continue his growth, and he will be a very, very good goalkeeper. But to ask him to play away at Dover and at home to Bromley, and Bromley we assumed were going to be land of the Giants again, a very physical team, a very big team. I thought that had been difficult for the lads. So I'd rather he get great experiences and build slowly than seemingly jump to the next bit and have to come back down. I don't think that helps him in any way. So, these are my decisions, and again, as long as I know that I'm doing them with the best intentions of the facets that I've described, then I'm comfortable.
I didn't think I'd be asking about international call-ups this season, but I am. Adi Yusuf, a massive achievement for him. Did it come at a slightly awkward time because he was in the squad for the Dover game? Did it come at inconvenient time?
No. I'm a big supporter of players going away on international duty. Ben Wilmot used to go away with England when I first played him in the team at Stevenage. Dale Gorman, and I had maybe a dozen Irish internationals at one stage in the academy at Stevenage. I was always a big advocate that they go and play international football. Why wouldn't you? I mean, blimey, what a feeling that must be to wear the shirt of the country you originate. And so it's a huge achievement, and we're very proud of Adi. Very, very proud of Adi, and it didn't change. I mean, going back to picking teams and the reasons why. If I really wanted to be that delicate, a lad who had not been playing, maybe I could have left him out of Dover if I thought that was for his benefit, so that he couldn't get injured to go away on international duty. But again, going back to my duties, I felt he was the best option for that particular challenge, and I thought he was good. And when it got to that sort of 70, maybe 80-minute mark, I thought, okay, we're pretty much home here. We can make sure he gets on that plane so that he goes and plays for his country. But no, we're very proud of Adi, very proud, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy as well.
He's got 1 win in the books. He's got 2 more chances on his little break. A couple of goals, a couple of wins. He might come back even more invigorated to produce on for us. It might be a real spike in his form, mightn't it?
Yeah, let's see what Reuben does Saturday, first day.
Yeah, okay, very good. Were you surprised that you didn't get any call-ups for the England C team? We were, when we looked at the list. We thought there's a few of our boys that could give some of them a run for their money.
Well, I think the conditions have changed for the first time in terms of the age limitations. Normally it's under 23, something like that, under 24. But obviously they've opened that up, and it's it's a who's who of, and if you're the England coach and you can put players that have signed for 6-figure transfer fees, then you're going to do that, aren't you? I think it's also hampered by our league position. The England coach is going to have no sort of horizon scan on the future in terms of the potential of players that can be reached. He'll want to win that game, surely. So I think it'll be the first time in a few years where Paul Fairclough can select players of an older nature, and he's done it. It's up to him what he picks. My opinion of the England C squad is irrelevant, really. My opinion to the FA is normally irrelevant when I'm moaning about referees, so I wouldn't have thought I'd get a say on selection either.
I'm going to ask you about that in a minute, actually. But on the injury front, Max Hunt back in training, back on the grass. How far is he away from being first team ready?
He's a couple of weeks away yet. He'll be middle of April, I would have thought. He did some unopposed work with us yesterday, which was a little bit more position specific, and we accommodate those types of sessions, practices within our main group. We don't, they either hate it when you see someone in a corner with a sports scientist doing some stupid drill of a textbook. I think if you can get them unopposed and into the practice where they're safe and certain conditions, or the practice is conditioned around the objectives, I think that's much more suitable. So he was with us yesterday. It was great to have him back. You forget what a big individual that chap is. I mean, he stands in front of Ted Can and it's like it's like, wow, there's some big fellas out there. Sonny Blue Low would call him. He's a big piece of kit. So I like that term. He's a big bit of kit. He's Max. So no, it's great to have him back. Jack's probably the closest one. Jack and Grant are probably the closest ones. But Hunty, I think, will be another couple of weeks.
Well, when you've gone through Mark Little, serious injury comeback, Reuben Reid, serious injury comeback, Lawson Diaz, Josh Neufeld, Wilkinson's been in and out of the team. You're managing Josh Staunton's minutes, Max Hunt, Grant Smith. Are you having more headaches in trying to figure out who can play what minutes and managing schedules than anything else this season?
No, because strangely they all want to play. They're all desperate to play. Injured. Wilkinson should never have played Tuesday night. I mean, for him to do that, I mean, Wilkinson's played more games, I think, this year than maybe the last two combined, or maybe just shy of that. But he's changed his routine. We've changed his training program, and I think his injuries, touch wood, for Lou, they're getting smaller. They're not as sort of longer periods out. So we're doing some good work with that. We're doing some really good work with that. And him and Mark Little are their kind of individual programs are very similar. So they work together. They're two good characters to drive each other on. But they all want to play. They all want to play. You know, even Mark, when I left him out on the Tuesday night against Dagenham maybe, you know, he did that unwillingly, you know. So they all want to play. So no, not really headaches. I've never asked anyone to play hurt. You know, that has to be driven by the individual. It's their body, it's their livelihood. You know, it's their family they got to go back to. So. But no, fantastic attitude by the players. You know, Reuben's in great physical condition right now, and I was so pleased for him Tuesday. So pleased that everyone could see what a good player he was, and you know what I see on a daily basis. So he's been magnificent, Reuben.
Couple of young lads out on loan, both at Barnstable, Toby Stevens, Ollie Haste. How have they been getting on? Have you been getting good reports from them? And on Ollie, is there any conversations about whether or not anything professional in the way of a contract or something may get offered down the line?
Well, Ollie's not really our player. I don't. There's a real confusion around it. I don't understand what the confusion is. We don't have an apprenticeship scheme anymore. So none of our academy players or under 18s are contracted. So Ollie's not our player. He trains on our academy scheme. He's done very well there. He trains with the first team sporadically. He's a terrific young man. So they're not really that's not really a question for me around him, because he's Barnstable's player. You should be asking them whether there's a pro contract for him there. Toby is, and Toby is, you know, someone we've got an invested long-term interest in, and Toby's doing great. You know, Toby's. I speak to Craig Laird all the time, and he's really pleased with Toby. We've extended it to the end of the season, and it just gives Tobes them you know, that sort of 8 or 9 games that he couldn't get. I got a not particularly positive report on one game, and we sat with Toby and we just made him aware that I'm like an eagle. I'm everywhere. My eyes are everywhere, and I'm not prepared to watch him not perform to his optimum. And so I think it's important that when they go out, there's still a pressure on them to go and play well and perform. So, you know, Toby knows that, and you know, his performances have improved greatly. I think Toby's a wonderful young player, really do. So I hope he has a big future at the football club.
Now, I haven't done one of these for a few weeks, so I do have a couple of bits to kind of catch up on. We got a couple of naughty FA charges back in February for failing to control our players against Eastleigh was one of them, but they were both unconcluded. We requested paper hearings. Have we had those paper hearings? Have we had a slap on the wrist, or have we been told we were in the right?
I think we had one slap on the wrist. What I don't get, we get fined for the referee not performing to the level they need to. So let's take Eastleigh. And I'm really good at these, Ben. So strap in, hold tight.
That was the Tom Knowles one, wasn't it, where he got
assaulted
to the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonkers. That got booked. Now, if the referee gets it and sends him, it's a sending off. We all know it's a sending off, and I don't want to see anyone sent off, especially you know, the lad at Eastleigh. He's a very good player, actually. I'm a fan, but it's a sending off, whichever way you like it. If he just goes up, sends him off, none of that happens. Our lads go, oh, well done, good decision, correct decision. We don't, and then so our lads say he's got to go. Their lads defend him quite rightly, because you want your team to defend your teammates or the individuals. then all of a sudden you got, who's the biggest man competition. When I say biggest man, you know what I'm getting at. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. What was the other one? Was it Notts County?
Maidenhead in the 94th minute. I think that's the disallowed Reuben Reid goal. The shenanigans after that. Is that one?
No, that wasn't for Reuben. That was offside. Reuben, no. They all knew he was offside. What was that one for? Was that a foul? Was that a counter-attack?
I'm not sure. 94th minute. That's because Maidenhead also got charged with it in the same game for the same thing.
No. So we fouled someone on the halfway line callously. I mean, Charlie Lee used to do it every 2 minutes in training. But so we stopped to counter-attack professionally on the halfway line. And 6 of their players ran at the referee. I don't get it. So, listen, I just use footage. So you look at the footage and you say, how are you coming to these conclusions? The actual outcome of what you're trying to penalise us for is the source of that error is your official. Honestly, it is madness. It is absolutely barking mad. And some of the things I've seen this year, I mean, look, let's give them a break. Let's give the National League, League 2, League 1 referees a break. They're doing everything with their eyes. Referees in the Premier League are getting it wrong with a camera around the ground. They can actually go round and watch it again. They still get it wrong. How can you get it wrong? I mean, the penalty at Everton, when the ball hits the lads, I can't remember who they're playing against. How can someone with a camera get that wrong? Ben, it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. And then do you know what they do? They watch it, and do you know what they now say? Now they get the referee to go and watch it. What's the point of paying the people at whatever park they sit at? What's it called? Is it Stockley Park?
Yep.
Well, what's the point? You might as well say don't watch it there. If there's anything we're unsure of, the fourth official will say, go and watch it on there. And then you can make a decision. No. So I actually think when you put the two together side by side, it's quite amusing. So yeah, look, it's funny. It is funny. And the one thing that really grates on me, is when we play the county cup games, and they say you have to use your first team. You got to use a substantial amount of your first team, and then they send a referee that's never refereed at that level. So we've got to abide by the rules, but you haven't.
Yeah, and it counts for first team. It doesn't count for first team suspensions, but it's a fixture. Yeah. I appreciate that. Let's leave it there. I've set you off. Let's leave it there. Go out. Go get the 3 points against Southend, but do so in an orderly fashion, please.
No emotion. Robotic. Yeah, I know. Cheers, lad.